Hey, what is up everybody? How are you guys doing? I hope everybody's having a wonderful Sunday. Of course, you're not going to be seeing this Sunday because my internet sucks, but thank you for coming and checking out Bluefoot Homestead. Thanks for checking out this video. I hope everybody's having a great night, evening, afternoon, whatever you got going on right now. I wish the best. So one thing I want to talk about that a lot of people don't really bring up. They bring it up kind of indirectly. They talk about it indirectly, but maybe it's because most people already know this, but I'm kind of convinced that a lot of people don't know it. Now, if lights go out, SHTF happens, if and when it happens, more of the fact of when it's going to happen. We're going to have a lot of lifestyle changes. And one of the biggest things as far as prepping goes, and one of the biggest lifestyle changes that we're going to have to deal with is food. How are we going to attack the problem? You know, of course, everybody's putting back rice and beans and canned food and freeze-dried food and all that good stuff, which is awesome, which is great. But the sad fact is we aren't going to have Applebee's. No more Pizza Hut getting delivered to your house. No more Uber Eats. No more of the good stuff you love to eat. Now, guess what? You're going to have to cook at home. Now, I know a lot of people these days, and especially the generations underneath me, life has been so easy. Why do you even need to cook at home? And there's also a lot of other people in the situation, as far as homesteaders and things like that, that are killer at cooking at home and they do great food. And the thing that kind of made me realize that is I went to a kind of a potluck for a small holiday here on the Ozarks, and I didn't really know anybody, and I don't necessarily like going to those type things where you have to interact with people. I'm an introvert, so I'm perfectly fine just chilling on my own. But yeah, we brought something, and I think we brought like suddenly salad or something like that, a big old bowl of it for everybody to dig into. It's good stuff, you know, I like it. But man, the food that came out of that place, all the people, this homemade food and some good stuff. But that's not everybody. I would say that's a very small percentage of people that actually cook every night, cook from scratch, and cook from minimal ingredients. So I want to kind of talk a little bit today, whenever you're watching this, about a couple essentials that maybe everybody doesn't have at home. And I apologize if you know you cook all the time and you have a lot of these things, and this is just going to be kind of basics for a lot of people that just live off of Taco Bell, live off of the conveniences of being an American, where we don't even have to worry about it. We don't have to bake bread. We go buy, you know, Nature's Own or Wonder Bread or Pepperidge Farm or whatever it is, and go about our day. Including myself. I hardly ever bake bread. I've never been a baker. I used to be a chef, but I've never really been a baker. So I want to go over a couple things, good things to have and have plenty of, and backups, because these are going to be essentials for getting through some hard times. So I'm going to switch to a little bit different format. You might be able to see my belly, but I got some stuff laid out on the table, and I don't want to act like I am like really far away. I don't know, maybe I will do that. Let me try that, and if that doesn't work, I'll end up switching it up. So let's try this. Okay, so I know the audio is not going to be as good, but I got to back off a little bit, try to make this work. Hopefully the microphone delivers a little bit, but we'll see. So first off, cookbooks. Basic things, like right here we got one. Strictly on baking. This is going to have pretty much everything baking wise. Anything that goes in an oven, from bread to souffles. This is actually one that I got in culinary school. This is issued through Cordon Bleu. But there are plenty of good books out there on baking and baking all kinds of different stuff. But you're going to need to know how to do it. You're going to need to have the ingredients. Yeast. Yeast does not last forever. That's something you should probably go get and stock up on, fill the cart with on your last shopping trip before you know what. So when it comes to baking, there are a lot of recipes that are going to call for a tablespoon, a flattened tablespoon, cup, different things like that. But there's also going to be a lot that are going to go on measurements. That is where a digital scale is going to come in very, very handy. The thing with baking is it's got to be kind of precise. You can't just wing it. There's a lot of times when you can wing it, make things happen, but when it comes to baking and a lot of different things, measurements got to be pretty much spot on, or things can come out pretty funky. That's how you get those hockey puck biscuits. You don't have a nice flaky biscuit. So, you know, baking, you also have to follow the instructions fairly well, make sure that you're doing what the recipe tells you to do for it to come out a certain way. So, not always the case with entrees and things like that. But yeah, definitely baking, you're gonna have to know how to bake. Another thing I'm gonna bring up, well, let me go ahead and do this one here. This is one I picked up. It is one of the authors, got a glare on it, that does culinary books, did a private book. Now these are usually a little bit expensive. Yeah, this was $44.95, so 45 bucks. That was about 12 years ago. So figure it's about 60 bucks now. Worth every penny. Now, when you're going to be eating beans and rice, you're going to be eating all this bland food, it's going to be really good to know how to make some sauces. So this has basically every sauce known to the culinary world. Basically, it's got a little bit of pictures and stuff like that, but I don't know if you'll be able to see. It's going to be kind of bright. Basically all text. It's not about fun, it's about actually getting the product, doing it right, and coming up with all kinds of good stuff. Lots of basic stuff for the most part, but then you can build on top of those basics. You know, there's like 7 mother sauces, and every sauce is based off of those 7 mother sauces. So that's going to tell you how to make sauces, make things creamy, make things juicy, wet. Wet is going to be good, as weird as that sounds. So yeah, definitely sauces. Know how to make some sauces. Some simple books. You know, stuff like this right here. Just general cooking. The Simply Happy Cookbook. You know, it's just going to have some good old American food in there. Things like that. Speaking of American food, you cannot get more American than this. The old classic. I know some of you guys still have them. It's got the tabs. It's got pictures from the 50s, which is pretty funny actually. This one, I'm not going to really repeat it, but yeah, it's a little bit sexist here in the cookbook. But that was the era. That was the 50s. It was perfectly acceptable back then. But things with these books is the food is pretty plain. We have gotten accustomed to very flavorful, robust foods that aren't really in that book. You know, Better Homes and Garden, that's another one. It's another real popular one. Yeah, having a lot of spices, a lot of things to be able to doctor up some of these recipes are going to be a really good thing. I've stressed that in some other videos as well. Now for me, since I do know and love how, or know how to cook and love to cook, I love a lot of international foods and stuff like that. I have them for almost every kind of region. This one's called The Wok. This is a great book. It's from the Food Lab. And it's got mostly American type foods, but it's got a lot of authentic Asian foods, stuff that you cook in a wok. I've got 2 woks and I have a turkey burner. I can tear up some wok cooking on propane in the apocalypse. I plan on it as well. Now the last book, this is already getting faded. This has been well used in my life and my career. It's a book called Culinary Artistry. This is the best cookbook I own that is not even a cookbook. I mean, it does have a couple recipes in it, but this is basically what it is. Now what this book does, I highly suggest getting it, and this one is $30 back in the day, so figure about 40-45 bucks for this book. If you don't know how to cook and you don't know how to adjust flavor profiles, you don't know what's going to go with what. I mean, you're sitting there and you got 50 spices sitting in front of you, some rice, a lemon, and a little bit of broccoli. What the hell are you going to do with it? You know, it's a little bit like these cooking shows. You know, they don't do the mystery baskets too much anymore, but they used to have a lot of cooking shows like, hey, you have these 4 ingredients, make me a 5-star dish. This is the secret to doing that. Now, when it comes to lights out in the apocalypse, well, you're going to have kind of minimal experience in doing those types of things. Some people are awesome with it, but everybody isn't. You're going to be using minimalistic ingredients. You know, I mean, you're going to have your freeze-dried food, but you're going to have a can of tomatoes, a can of peas, you know, some old Parmesan cheese you got to use up, and some black beans. So what this will do, to stop rambling on so much about it, is you can pick your main ingredient, say broccoli in that case, and this is going to tell you what goes good with broccoli. And oh, well, I have a lemon. Okay, well, that's good too. Look up lemon, what goes good with lemon, and you're going to have broccoli with it as well, but you're also going to have some different herbs and stuff. And the way this is put together, they picked, I forget the number, like 20 or 30 of the top chefs in the world to come up with these flavor profiles that you can go off of as a template to be able to cook. Awesome, awesome book. Apocalypse or no apocalypse, I highly suggest this book for anybody that wants to cook, knows how to cook, a seasoned veteran chef, maybe. This is a good book to have. It gets your mind going, ideas going. Now with that, I will say taste everything. The one thing that nobody can teach you is how to taste. You add an ingredient, taste it. Can you barely start tasting that flavor coming into the dish? If not, add a little bit more. Wait till you can barely taste it coming into the dish and stop. Leave it at that. Don't just randomly dump a whole bunch of crap into something. You're gonna like give yourself heartburn and diarrhea, I guarantee it. Learn how to incorporate flavors into things, and then eventually you start learning. You know, you start practicing this stuff, you start learning. So, kind of with that, I'm just gonna do a little bit different here. Breakaway. This is a pressure cooker, an American, all-American pressure cooker. I got it because everybody said it was the best, and I happen to have the money for it. It's a little bit expensive, but so far it does seem really good. I haven't really had much of a problem. I can't get, it's not a review on it, but I can't get the weight for my elevation and the pressure inside to match up the way it's supposed to be. So I don't know if I have an issue with my pressure gauge or anything like that, but it seems like everything's coming out okay. It's a little bit high pressure, but I haven't had any jars break or anything like that. So if you're gonna have a garden, which you're all gonna have a garden, right? I don't care if you live in a penthouse, you gotta have a garden. You're gonna have a pressure cooker to help preserve some of that food, because you're gonna have to get through the other 8 months of the year that you don't have a garden ripe and green and putting out tons of food. So a root cellar if you can, and a pressure cooker. So that's gonna save your butt as well. Even if you happen to come across somebody that wants to trade a box of 30-06 for, you know, 10 pounds of beef or sheep or venison, it's going to save your butt. Get a lot of jars, get extra lids, get 2 to 3 times as many lids as jars at least, because you're going to be going through the lids a lot quicker. That's going to let you reuse a jar 3 times. Lids aren't cheap either. So anyway, when it comes to doing recipes in any sort of cookbook, you're going to have measuring devices. You know, get yourself a 1/4 cup, 1/2 cup, and a full cup. You can pretty much do anything with that. And on the smaller scale, I would recommend metal, aluminum, stainless steel. I have these measuring spoons in metal, but I couldn't find them. We have a backup in plastic, so I'm showing you the plastic. So it's going to have your tablespoons, teaspoons, quarters, eighths, sixteenths, all that kind of stuff. So that's going to let you start taking all these preps that you have and actually making something that's palatable. Now, if you're just going to be eating rice and beans like I think a lot of people are planning on doing, you're going to hate yourself in about a week, let alone a month or a year. So you got to start getting a little bit creative, and you got to start thinking a little deeper than a lot of people might do, and especially a lot of guys out there. I know a lot of guys don't cook. I know some do, but a lot of guys don't cook. They're just going to grill up a steak, grill up some burgers, do the fireman type stuff, and that's cool. Nothing wrong with that. But everybody after SHTF is going to learn to grow a garden, take care of animals, and cook, preserve, and all these things come along with food. So also 2-cup Pyrex. Now I do have Pyrex. This is a 1 cup and a 2 cup. 2 of these full as a quart. You know, you can get your bigger measurements with it. I do not recommend Pyrex. I recommend it for everyday use, but it is glass. Glass is great. Glass cleans up very well, and glass breaks. So I would highly suggest getting something just like this, but in plastic. Not adjustable ones, not things that you need to twist, push, pull, anything like that. 0 moving parts, because all those other ones fail. I've went through numerous amounts of gimmicky, kind of cool in some cases, measuring devices, and everyone fails. You need something solid that's going to last you a long time. So I would also suggest starting now. If you're not good at cooking, get good at cooking. Learn how to use ingredients in different ways. Like this book right here, this Culinary Artistry. That'll help you out. But cooking with recipes is going to teach you a lot on how to imagine dishes, imagine food, imagine meals that you're going to be able to feed yourself and feed your family, friends, loved ones, whatever. It's going to slowly teach you, but you got to start like now. You got to start learning how to do this. It takes a little bit of time. You are not going to become a chef overnight. You are not going to become a chef in a year. Even if you know how to cook and you have your family recipes, you have all your 5 dishes that you just nail, you got it, it comes out perfect every time. Well, you got to learn the other 99% of everything else. It's going to save your butt, I guarantee it. So, yeah, that's about all I got to say. I guess I can add, taste everything as you go. That's going to definitely help you out on getting your culinary game going. Yeah, just basically wanted to talk about some culinary things, talk about cooking. No disrespect to people that know how to cook. This is mostly for what I think a majority of society is like and what they're about. Most people don't really cook at home. Most people don't have the skills to do it. Even us in the prepping community, we still have the conveniences of doing the things that we've always done. We're just packing a little bit of food away, packing some things aside for that just in case moment. But you got to think of, what are you going to do then? You got to learn to cook. You got to learn to be able to feed yourself. And personally, for me, people talk about odors, people talk about smells. You're going to have, rushing gang members outside of your house. And yeah, there might be that possibility that people are going to hunt you down because you're cooking food. But I'm going to eat. I don't care. I'll figure it out. I'll figure out what I need to do. If people really coming to kill me over food, I will figure something out. Maybe that's my time where I need a bug out. Maybe I'll get a bug out bag. I don't know. But anyway, I want to talk about food tonight, so I appreciate you watching this. Thanks for watching it. Hit that subscribe, like. I would appreciate that as well. Till next time, peace.